I debated posting this. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Blythe and I do mostly gardening and homesteading content. Today we're going to be talking about my first time experience in raising and processing our own meat chickens. So as you can tell from the title, first of all, this is graphic, fair warning. If you don't want to see the butchering process, please skip over this video. I know it can be a pretty tender subject for some people. And as I sit here today, it is still a pretty tender subject because I've only done it once in my research of and my love for gardening, homesteading, self-sufficiency. I realized I needed to start on the road to meat production. I was a vegetarian for 15 years. From the age of 10 to 25, I was very young and decided I was not going to be eating meat anymore because I loved animals so much and it was just so cruel. Yeah, we've come a long way. So here we are. I'm now 29, so I have been eating meat for the past 4 years. It stemmed from my health. I got to a point where I just wasn't healthy and I was feeling it and I knew I needed a change. And there's a lot of other things that I could have tried, but I was at a place where I realized that introducing meat back into my diet wasn't going to be as big of a deal as it would have been to other people. So I did it. I introduced very slowly, but that's why I'm here. I'm here to give you guys my firsthand experience, how I felt. If it's your first time raising chickens or any kind of animal for meat, you came to the right place. If you want to hear the experience of someone who, even 10 years ago, would have laughed at the thought of me raising meat chickens for food. Now that you know kind of my backstory, let's just get into it. I'm going to be inserting some video footage every once in a while just to kind of give you guys like the process, the rundown, the raising, the feeding, the whatever, so you guys can kind of see. So we'll start with my desire for self-sufficiency. I'm really not sure where this came from. It came out of the blue a little bit. I started a garden and I found so much peace with it. It was, I mean, I knew that it was going to be a part of the rest of my life forever, the first year that I did it. There's so much peace, there's so much joy, there's so much connection with nature, with getting your hands in the dirt, with growing something from a tiny seed. I was just in awe of it, really. And so I did gardening for a few years and I wanted to branch out. I ended up getting some ducks for eggs and for pest management in the garden. I just started getting into gardening so much that I ended up in the homestead community on YouTube here, watching videos, seeing how fulfilled people were and how much joy homesteading and growing your own meat and sustainability brought them. You start to realize how these animals are treated in the industry. And, coming from being a vegetarian, I realized how inhumane a lot of our systems are for meat production, dairy production, egg production, all of that. And when I was watching a lot of the homesteaders that I watch here on YouTube, I heard a lot of them. There was always a saying that they kept saying, and it really stuck with me and resonated. They have one bad day was the phrase. Meat production is essential to me, at least. I know some people may not feel that way. It has brought me so much health. I've kind of just come full circle from that and realized that there is a good way to raise animals, produce meat, and that way to me is to give the animal the best life that they can have, and they have one bad day. So I texted my dad and I just asked, I was like, would you want to try raising our own chickens for meat? And he and my mom said, yeah, sure, let's try it. I did some research and we ended up ordering 20 Cornish cross hens by accident, but it ended up working out. I meant to buy the jumbo Cornish cross, I think, but I'm not sure how I got confused. I ended up buying the Cornish game hens, and so once I realized that, they were already on the way, so we couldn't do anything about it. And we had planned to have some help with the butchering process closer towards June, which would put them around 8 or 9 weeks. I did a little bit of research and we felt pretty confident that we could get them to 8 weeks in the right conditions. So we ordered 20. We ended up getting 21 and we lost 3 as babies, which I think is a pretty good ratio from what I've researched when it comes to ordering chicks through an online hatchery and with the type of chickens that you buy. So we ended up with 18 chickens total. They all made it to butchering day, which was very exciting. We fed them organic meat bird feed. They grew really fast. I kept them here at our house in a brooder for a couple weeks, and then we took them to my parents where they have a little more land to a bigger coop, and they lived there for 6 weeks until butchering day. So it felt good going into butchering day. I felt really excited. I felt, like I am going to be learning so much. I've never done this before, and this is something that I want to know how to do. I want to learn, even though it's scary and I'm about to have a panic attack. I still wanted to do it. We made it to butchering day, and we had some friends, some old friends of ours, come, and they brought their kids, and they brought a chicken plucker and some knives, and we got some tables out, some coolers, some ice. We went and got a turkey broiler to get some water in there to get it really hot. We just kind of got to work, gave the chickens some water while they were waiting, while we were setting up. The guy that was helping us or teaching us how to do the butchering process, he showed us a few different ways, and this is honestly the scariest part. The first couple birds, I think maybe the first 5 or 6, were butchered by the teacher. He showed us a few different ways to cull them, and he also recommended just severing their head completely as the most humane way, the fastest, most humane way to cull them. And so we decided that's the way we wanted to do it. He started out, it wasn't as intimidating, to watch him do the first cull, the second cull, as it was when he handed me the knife and I was culling my first animal ever. I'd never done it. I was so nervous. I actually did have like a slight panic attack and my hand went a little bit numb during that process. This is kind of hard to talk about, and it's interesting that this is kind of hard to talk about because I've done it and I want to do it again. But just like remembering that moment where I went and got a chicken and hung it up by the string that we had there, and I was holding on to its head, and yeah, not to go into too much detail, I don't think I have a video of that. Probably good. But yeah, it took me a good 3 solid minutes to calm down and to do it. After the first one, I did a couple more just to practice, to be really sure about it and to feel confident in it. And then I backed off. I think I don't want to do anymore. The teacher, he ended up pulling the rest of them, and I watched and learned and helped him, string them up and get them off. Put them to the side while they finished bleeding out.
We gotta bowl them first. You got it, bud?
And after they were all cold, we got to work and we put them down in the turkey broiler to soften their feathers and
The water to swirl on its own. Essentially, right before a pot of water comes to boil.
Right.
So what we're doing is submerging them.
So Livy just texted me, said they are technically still under contract.
And then into the plucker to get the rest of the feathers off.
And then I'll grab the hose. How long did we do it then?
And then we had them sitting in a cooler of water, and then we were taking them out and gutting them and then putting them into another cooler with ice and water.
So now I gotta reach
Before we bagged them. And so you guys can see some of the footage in here of us doing that. It was really cool. It was really fun to learn.
What you're doing is you're cutting through all the ligaments. There's nothing holding the joint itself together other than the ligaments. The only ligaments you're going to have is they're going to be on the top and on the bottom. So if we make the one little cut, it pops it open.
Right.
And then now all we have is these ligaments right here on the bottom. And we're just going to cut through them.
Really good.
Hey, put them down.
Done?
Okay. Oh, that's pretty much everything. And you're done. Slide. Jordan.
Right here. I'm just trying to keep them over there because I don't want to get the one.
One at a time. Top them in the water. 2, 3,
So it has to be hot.
4, 5 or so. Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
It was really weird. I'm not gonna lie. First time you process chickens, weird. If you're thinking about doing it, I'm sure you know that. Like, I'm sure, like, oh, I've never processed chickens and I'm gonna process chickens. Why you wouldn't think it would be weird? It wasn't like gross. I wouldn't say it was like gross. We gutted them all. We bagged them up. Our biggest chicken ended up being 7.3 pounds after processing, which was awesome. I think our smallest was like 5 something, really not that small. And we went through them pretty fast. I think I was doing like a whole chicken in the crock pot every week, and it was the best, when I tell you, the best chicken I've ever had. And it felt really good. It took me a few weeks of them being in the freezer for me to really come to terms with eating one after the processing, just because it was a lot, you know, from what I've said. But once we cooked our first bird, we were kind of hooked and we ate them all really fast. We ended up taking home 8 and my parents kept 10. But yeah, it's something that we're going to do again, and I can't wait to, you know, get more and more confident in it, do it with friends, have like a big processing day, and share the love of growing our own meat and sustainability. So I would love to answer any questions that you guys have down below. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I know this is kind of a weird video to post about. I'm hoping that somebody got some good information and learned a thing or two from me today. I know that this is not for everyone, and I know that, you know, we've been really far removed from growing our own meat, that we don't know how to do it. We don't know how to handle those emotions. But that's kind of the point, you know. The point is to be emotionally attached to the process, because you're only that much more thankful for their life. You're only that much more thankful for what they're giving you, health and food and nourishment. So that's why we do it. You know, one bad day, they have a wonderful life, a beautiful life, and we benefit from that in a beautiful way. So, like I said, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll see you in the next one. Have a wonderful day.